The international financial institutions, I don't know what's going to happen to them, but I think it's become apparent that they have an even more important role than perhaps we thought they had before. In terms of responding to financial instability, the IMF, with suitable credibility and governance so that people had confidence in it and with enough resources, would be an extremely important player in a situation like this. The IMF went into this with access to $250 billion of reserves. That's nowhere near enough to deal with the kind of high-speed capital movements that we saw in the fall of 2008. You need something more like, access to 2 trillion, which is approximately what the Chinese reserves are now. The World Bank and the development banks and other entities have an important role to play in helping countries that are not only adversely affected, but sort of clobbered. If a country is resource poor and a net importer of commodities facing a commodity price spike with adverse effects on the poor population and the overall economy is less well off because of the change in relative prices, this requires external assistance, and that's something the World Bank, the development banks, the UN, and others need to be involved in. So I would say the role of these institutions, in principle, has become even more important, and they need to be structured in such a way that governance is accepted and authoritative, and they have the resources to be able to act. Whether that will happen, I'm not sure I would be able to guess. The prospects for the global economy this year and next are pretty bad. We'll have deep recessions in the advanced countries. If the optimistic projections are right, and they may be right, the 2 largest developing countries in terms of population, China and India, may hold up their growth. In the case of China, that would be 7 to 8%, and in the case of India, it would be 7%. That would be an enormously large achievement if those economies manage to maintain those growth rates. There are many people who are making pessimistic projections, but even the pessimistic projections allow for substantial growth in those economies, and we hope those projections are right. Many other countries will be more badly adversely affected. After 2010, the way I sometimes describe to this is given that we've had a delay in having a systematic response to the financial problems, the damaged balance sheets, and the downward spiral on the real economy side, I think we're in for a deep and fairly prolonged recession of a type that we haven't experienced in most of our lifetimes. That means at least 2009 and 2010. If the interventions in the advanced countries, in the financial markets, and the fiscal stimulus in the real economy either aren't forthcoming or not effective, then it's actually going to be worse than that. So this is what I call the 2 scenarios. One is bad and the other one's really, really bad. But I think it's a fair and accurate description to say that that's a situation we're in. If you asked people 6 months ago, what I just said would be viewed as an excessively pessimistic estimate, but I don't think it would be viewed that way now. The hope is that after 2010, we'll start to recover growth. We'll recover growth both in the developing world and the advanced countries. We'll have cleaned out most of the debt, excess debt. Balance sheets will look more normal. And when we come out of it, we will have an American consumer that's less important in driving the global economy than they were in the past 5 to 6 years. But I think that's the situation that we're in.